Bruce, we've heard the phrase separation of church and state. Where does it come from and what does it mean?
Well, many people mistakenly believe that it comes from the Constitution, but that's not true. It actually comes from a personal letter by newly elected President Jefferson in 1802 to an association of Baptists in Connecticut, responding to a letter they'd sent him. The letter they'd sent to Jefferson basically said, look, in Connecticut, the Baptists don't get a fair break here because the established religion here is Congregationalism and the state is favoring them. Can we count on you and the federal government to protect our rights to exercise our religious freedom here in Connecticut? And Jefferson wrote back and said, look, we have this thing called the First Amendment and the Establishment Clause. There is now a wall of separation between church and state. And the federal government is prohibited from both establishing our own religion and getting involved in your state's establishment of a religion. And that has evolved into something over the years which has become completely unlike that original letter.
Yeah, this is probably the most misrepresented, misapplied phrase in our government. Give me some examples of how that's happened in recent years.
Well, it began really in 1947 with a Supreme Court case about state aid to religious busing. And ultimately, the court came out in favor of state aid for the busing of students to religious schools, which is odd because ever since then, they've used that case, which incorporated Jefferson's phrase, wall of separation between church and state. The court used that as a metaphor to explain the First Amendment's Establishment Clause. And over the years, what it's come to mean is states, as well as the federal government, can't get involved in encouraging religion or in accommodating the free expression of religion. We have the courts now judging whether you can pray before a high school football game, whether the town council can conduct an invocation before they conduct the town's business. That's not what Jefferson meant, but we're in this fight with an increasing secular society over forcing the exercise of religion out of the public square and simply eradicating it entirely from our public life. We're fighting that effort, and it's all based on this one misconception that the Supreme Court had of what Thomas Jefferson was really writing about.